now.
So can we start?
And
Okay.
starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin.
Zhang affirmed resolved all secondary schools in the United States should require all students to wear school's uniform at school. My contention is gang violence. Subpoint A, school uniforms decrease gang violence. Veritas A, crimes reported summaries are now available for the 5 years post-uniform policy period and reflects that school crimes overall has dropped approximately 86%. The 5 categories of schools crimes were comparisons can be made between 1993 levels and 1999 levels are as follows. And A sex offense down 93% from 57 to 4 offenses. B robberies has down from 85%, and selling or using chemical substance down 48%, and the weapons or like down 75%, and dangerous devices down 96% from 46 to 2 cases. And my subpoint B, gang violence is most important because research shows that there are millions of gang activities happening in school every year in America. Because of mental jealousy and inequality, this can cause serious trauma to the hearts and the lives of children. And Caruso P. and Aris teachers, school uniforms removes gang violence. Some students display the latest fashion and
Okay,
have
that
been
is time. Questions from the audience? They're all calling people at random. Let's start out with someone at random. Ian.
What year was this made in? I didn't hear.
it's in the 2003.
Okay, May, question?
No question for this round.
You got to think. Samira, question?
I don't have any question.
Joshua, question?
Where was this conducted?
You mean the research or?
Yeah, the research. Like the.
It's in the at California State University.
So, Iris, this is a study from the Long Beach School District, correct?
Yes.
So why should we trust the Long Beach School District if it's a study from 30 years ago?
It's from 30 years ago, but the gang violence is all the same things. It can, the things, uniforms affects the gang violence. There's a logic they can happen to whatever 30 years ago or from now.
Okay. Krithik, that's time. You're up. You ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay, starting in 4, 3, 2, 1, begin.
Very negates resolved all secondary schools in the United States should require all students to wear school uniforms during school. My sole contention is individuality. The point A, uniforms decrease individuality. Gregory, doctor at University of Arkansas, wrote in 13. During the interviews and focus group session, it became very clear that the students know the rules and know exactly how far they can go before they can be reprimanded for uniform violations. The extremes that these adolescents go into in order to make themselves look different from the next student, as well as the level of enthusiasm that they show when explaining how they alter their uniforms, prove their extent in which individuality plays in their lives. Subpoint B, uniforms decrease individuality, and educational researcher wrote in 08. When children select their own clothing, they are able to develop confidence and independence characteristics vital to personality development and adult success. Denying students is the ability to express individualism and belief in subculture, whether preppy, hip hop, punk, or jock, could stymie the student's transition from childhood into adulthood. Controlling the socialization process could harm the student as an adult, as they are not prepared for the real world where they will indeed be judged by their appearances. Some points the individuality is what makes humans different. By limiting a child's openness of their character, we also inhibit their creativity and what they are proud of. This could negatively impact their future, where children won't be able to stand for themselves and their ideas or defend themselves, since they will just follow the norms just as they had learned in school.
Okay, let's ask some questions at random. We'll do reverse order this time. Joshua, you're first. Do you have a question? You got him? There you go.
When was this? Like, when was this research conducted?
Okay, so my first card is from 2013 and my second card's from 2008.
Okay.
Samira, do you have a question?
Why exactly do you think that individuality outweighs gang violence?
I think that's for the next part, but well, I would say that individuality, this is a more probable, like I guess it's like a lot more probable for this problem than gang violence, and it's also more frequently happening than gang violence. So it's definitely more of an immediate impact in my view. Than gang
Okay.
violence.
May, question.
Do you have any data that limiting individuality has long-term effects on students?
Okay, so data for long term.
As in, you mentioned that it impacts their future and stuff, but is there really much data supporting that claim?
Well, I would say that this is more of a logical argument, rather than a data supported one. And also, both of these inferences are actually based off of my first card, which was actually they're presenting some of the conclusions they made off of the interviews and focus group sessions they had.
Okay. Ian.
So you said that students won't be prepared to be judged as an adult, but can't students be judged in other ways other than their clothing while in school?
Well, I mean, when you go outside, what's the most common way you're judged? It's by what you wear, right? I mean, did you ever see someone judged by anything else? It's normally what they wear or what they have on themselves. In my personal experience, that's the most common way.
Okay.
I haven't exactly seen anyone else.
And last question, why should we believe any of your claims on individuality if you don't have any data to support them, just simply logic?
Well, I suppose the whole concept of individuality is more of like our feelings as well. So I suppose it's more of a question, do we trust our feelings and ourselves about individuality, and do we respect our individuality, and do we want it?
Awesome. Okay, next speech. Iris, you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, starting in 4, 3, 2, 1, begin.
School uniforms decrease individuality. No links. School uniforms has no effect on individualities. Perhaps rise in 2003. Approximately 34% of the parents repelled, and over half of the parents favors the use of the school uniforms. In the service, parents determine that uniforms do not limit children's individualities. According to the King's adolescence is a period when young youth and attempts to find their own uniqueness and individualities in various ways. School uniforms enable students to be creative using the talents instead of their peers. Gang violence outweighs the individualities because first, gang violence may harm students' mental health and confidence. Then you won't have your own creativities anymore. And also, creativities can spread in other ways, not only for the clothes, but gang violence is from others. We can only save ourselves by having the uniforms. It is time.
Card comparison?
Card comparison. Okay. My card is better than his card because I have a fully data and long-term research, but he don't have any data to support his logic.
Okay, that's time. Questions. So we'll go again. Ian, first question.
So you said that parents think that school uniforms are good. How do the parents know if they're not ever at the school because they won't be at the school?
But parents are who most familiar with the students, and parents care more about students. And parents they are more care about our lives, how we feel, and they will stand more reasonable, and they are more logical and thinking about more.
Okay, May, question.
Can you come back to me?
Samira, question.
I don't have a question.
Joshua, question.
No question.
May, coming back to you.
Okay, so you mentioned that it lets students show their creativity more if they have uniforms, but is there an example you could provide to support that?
I mean that students don't need to focus on the school uniforms. They can keep these keep these in the creativities and on our others field like math and others what they like and spread their creativities.
Okay, that's time. Krithik, you ready to go?
Wait, yeah, but there's something I just want to make it sure. I forgot, like, for the rebuttals, are we allowed to, like, rebut every point she said, like, in public forum, or do we just choose one point to argue?
Well, she only has one contention, and so you're rebutting the contention in many ways you want.
Like, anything she, like, said in her rebuttal?
Yes, as long, oh, yeah, don't front line, so don't respond to a rebuttal, only respond to her contention.
Oh, okay.
Okay, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin.
Answer to uniform decrease violence. No link uniforms need to increase or decrease gang violence. Johnson, faculty of East Carolina University, wrote in 2010. The investigation and perception studies, small-scale effectiveness studies, and the 4 large-scale effectiveness studies revealed much has been written on the topic of school uniforms and school safety, but the findings of these studies have proven inconclusive, as both positive and no effects to the school violence from school uniforms have been reported in all 3 categories. Brunsma, 2004, noted research on this topic of school uniforms and safety is still void and concluded more research is needed. This study represents an attempt to add to that knowledge base. Individuality outweighs the importance of gang violence because by letting people be themselves, they automatically will like their life better and they'll make healthier choices. Individuality also will for sure cause a healthier lifestyle because it'll be filled with what they like, whereas gang violence may or may not stop. And people still feel sad.
Hard comparison.
So I'm gonna just do like time frame, I guess. So my inferences, whether they have data or not, they're based off of children from 2008 and 2013, whereas her inferences are based off of 2003 evidence. So on time frame, my inferences are much more valid for the current day, and yeah.
Okay, that's time. Questions, we'll do reverse order. So Joshua, you're first.
No questions.
Samira,
No questions.
May,
How does recency help in your case?
Well, since my individuality itself is more thought based and it's more like our feelings, it's good to make sure that we're taking recent data because it reflects on what kids are feeling at that time. I would like to say that my opponents first of all, she said the parents know what the kids said, but I don't think so. And second of all, it's coming from 2003, whereas my inferences, which are on children, not what the parents are thinking, are coming from 2008 and 2013. So I still think they're more valid.
Ian.
No questions.
Okay, so last speech. Iris, you ready to go?
Yes.
Starting in 3, 2, 1, begin.
So first I win the debates because I provide more data. So my data supports for long-term research, but my opponents didn't give me any data that supports his supports his research and constructive. And my opponent says my data is outdated, but anyone can write things during any period, but my data is but my constructive is more support on the data, but he don't have any data to support. And secondly, my opponents secondly, the school universe is outweighted because gang violence is outweighted because school uniform will decrease the gang violence, and gang violence is important because it will cares about the students' lives. And my opponent says that the parents don't know how children's feels, but parents are standing on the most objective views. And in my rebuttals, I said that children are during a period of adolescence, and they are the best times to spread their creativities through their talents, not just focusing on the clothings. And my constructive also supports that the gang violence have the strongest probabilities that can be decreased by the school universe, and the probabilities is higher than my opponents. And also the gang violence is outweighted than the individualities, because individualities can spread in any field, any through their talents and any ways, but not just from the clothings. But gang violence is my data and in my constructive that shows that gang violence can easily decreased by the school uniforms.
Okay, that's time. Krithik, you ready to go? Starting in 3, 2, 1, begin.
I won the debate because of an everyday appeal, because individuality is something that plays a role in our lives every day. Even like during the pandemic, we still try to show our individuality and like mainly what we wear, and that's one of the reasons why we don't have school uniforms at this school for high school. So first of all, my opponent says that she has data, I don't, but as I have stated, the topic of individuality can't be measured empirically. It's something that's based on our feelings and what we value. And therefore, we should trust inferences more, which was the second thing she said. Anyone can say anything. However, these inferences are based on our feelings, which are the best way to measure our individuality. And so, second, I believe she said that parents are the best way to parents know the best. But however, how many times like has a parent known our like feelings or like that well? Not many times, at least in my case. But basically I feel that individuality isn't something that can be measured, and we should choose our feelings, and that's why we should directly go to the kids and what they feel. That's it.
Okay, everyone vote.